Okay, welcome back. What we're going to do this time now is we're actually going to create a distribution, and then from that distribution, it'll help us to create the kickstart file as well as the cobbler part of Spacewalk that's kind of hidden underneath the covers, and then therefore we'll be able to boot automatically using a TFTP server to get the information set there. So let's go through and set up some distributions, and I'll go through those steps and what we need to do for there. First, what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a directory within the var spacewalk that'll basically be where we'll store all the ISOs. So if we have multiple ISOs, like if we were going to install like a 5.x type system, or the new 7 that will be coming out very soon, you can very easily put the ISOs there and then mount them, just like we are the 6.5. So what we'll do now is do that part of it. So first things first is we need to create the directory, or actually download the ISO file. So So first thing that we need to do is we need to download the ISO. So let's do that. Basically, I've got a wget command here, and what that wget command will do is go to this website, which is a mirror list that you can get from the CentOS website, and download the first DVD as an ISO. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to call what's looping it, and we're actually going to mount the ISO. So it's like mounting the DVD uh, to the Spacewalk system as if it was a regular CD that's available, and you can see the different packages and stuff like that. So let's do this wget. It's going to take some time, but I'm basically just going to, once it finishes, I'll come back, and then we'll move the file to a directory once we create that. So let's first get the file, the ISO, downloaded. Okay, now that we have the file downloaded, the ISO file downloaded, we're going to need to make a directory for that. So let's make that directory. So basically, we made two directories. One is the ISOs, which we're going to actually store the ISOs in, and then the mount distros CentOS um, for the actual mount point that we're going to create for that. And I actually noticed not really a typo, but we'll put 6.5 here. That way, if we have a 5.8, it'll be a different one. I mean, it's fine that we left the other one there. That'd be just a plain CentOS. So now those directories are created. We have the ISOs. Now we need to move what we just downloaded with wget CentOS, and we need to move that to the ISOs directory. And then change directories to that. And there we have the file that we just moved. I'm just going to clear the screen up here real quick, the list. And then now what we need to do is we need to mount that. Now we need to mount it to the mount that we created point, which is that next folder there. I know this gets a little confusing. It took me a while to understand all the different folders and mount points and stuff like that, but it's just going to be a mount dash O, then loop, and then you want to know the ISO itself, so the var spacewalk ISO CentOS 6.5 ISO, and then where you want to mount it to, so it's from and then to. That will be in the mount distros CentOS, and there we go, 6.5. And it looks like it took it, but let's just do a quick df, and that'll tell us if it's been mounted or not. And as we can see, it has been mounted, 4.2 gig. The spacewalk and that DVD ISO is now mounted on that system. So if we go to this mount point, to a list, we see all the packages and everything that were on that initial DVD, as if that DVD is actually mounted on that system. So now what we need to do is we need to actually go through the steps within Spacewalk to set up the distribution, and we'll go through that. I will minimize this. So if you're logged in already, you're going to go to Systems, and then from Systems, you're going to go into Kickstart. And from Kickstart, you're going to go to Distributions, and then here there's no distribution at all, so there's no Kickstartable distributions available. So you'll say Create a new distribution, and here the distribution label. Let's keep it easy. CentOS 5. Now the tree path, that's pretty important, and we really need to know what that tree path is. And the tree path that we're going to be using is where we actually mounted that. So what we need to do there is just to make sure that it matches where we have that mounted. So we need to make sure for, you know, pretty exact. If not, there'll be issues and stuff like that. But it'll also check it to make sure that you do have it there. So it really shouldn't be um, that bad. This is our path. So mount distros CentOS 6.4. So we're just going to copy that. I'm going to put that in the tree path. So it's pretty easy. The base channel, we really only got the one to select from, so we got 6.5, but if you have a different version, 5.8 or whatever. Installer generation, we need to set that to what generation we actually have. So it's going to be 6. We'll set that to 6, and then kernel options and post-kernel options, we really don't have to worry about that. Click Create Key Start Distribution. And there's a little checkbox here saying that's valid, so that's good. That's really what we want. So the distribution's been created. That's the first step that we need to get done. Next thing we need to do after setting up the distribution is that we need to set up the kickstart options. So we need to go through and do that. And it's basically a profile. And there's no profile, so we'll still create a kickstart profile. Label, this will just be, base 6.5. We will say CentOS 6.5 AS for Kickstart. Got the base channel, Kickstartable tree is a CentOS there. And then you can always select, use the newest tree for its base channel as, it was last modified. So we'll select that. Virtualization type. Since we're not going to do any virtualization this one, you could KVM, Zen, or Para, or Fully. We're just going to keep this as none. Next button. Leave this as default. That's the default download location. And here you can set up a root password for it. And there we go. The Kickstart's been pretty much set up for the most part, but there's a lot more stuff that you can do in here. Now that we've created it, actually, you can see where it can put log customization postscripts. There is a lot of stuff that you can do in here, but we're going to keep it real basic. You can look at the operating system here and see that, here's the base channel. Then we say that we want updates, and we want Spacewalk 2.1 client, and we want EPEL. And then here's the available trees. So we're good there. And what we need to do now is hit Update Kickstart. So it updates the Kickstart. All those things will be available for our bare metal install that we do. Go to Variables, org1, that's fine. Advanced Options. There's a whole bunch of information here. You can set up auto partitioning. You can set up different devices, driver disk. We're just doing just a plain one, so we're really not too concerned about all this information. But you can do a lot here. You can do your time zones, make a lot of changes. Here's the Kickstart information that you can use for bare metal Kickstart, IP address for them. You can associate certain IP address ranges. Get your system details. Personally, I'm going to disable this for the SE Linux. So you can do all sorts of, pretty cool stuff here. Here you can do the configuration management from Spacewalk. And then you got your enable Spacewalk. let you do all different sorts of commands remotely. Uh, I mentioned partitions. Here's the partition setup. You can change this to make it how you want it. File preservations, GPLSSL, troubleshooting even, software. You can say base package, ignore, miss packages, don't install the base packages. We do want base because we just want the bare minimum. And we're going to add some here as well. So we'll have the base. And I'll have these listed as well on my DocuWiki site. So you get your base, your RHN setup, check, client tools, all information. Like I said, it will be on my thing there. And then update packages, activation keys, set that, the activation keys, scripts. You can add scripts if you want. And then here's an actual look of the full Kickstarter file for that. So that is that part of it. So we're looking pretty good here. We've got our first profile. We've got our distribution. We've got all of the parts that pretty much need to be into play for this to work. And then from this we'll go into creating the basically the TFTP server and how to get the information set up on your network so that you can communicate and automatically do a bare metal install of CentOS 6.5.